Welcome back to another weekly dividend portfolio update. This will be episode 9 in the series. This video will also mark the end of October, and therefore I'll include some monthly numbers alongside the regular weekly numbers as well. We'll first take a look at my Wealthsimple trade portfolio, where I was down $88.01, or roughly 1%, giving me a portfolio value of $14,591.01. I did notice that Wealthsimple Trade uses Monday's opening value rather than last Friday's closing value when determining the weekly performance, which is unfortunate because it doesn't give a perfect representation of how my portfolio did. An easy example to show you is that you can see that Wealthsimple Trade shows here that I lost $88.01 this week. However, I know that my portfolio as of last Friday was valued at $14,632.32. And this can be seen from the video that I posted last week. So if we take that value and minus it from its current value, it's actually a loss of $41.31. But because my portfolio increased on Monday, Wealthsimple Trade is using that number and subtracting it from its current value, which is representing a larger loss than it actually is. Hopefully this is something they can change down the road, but nothing we can do about it now. Up next, we have my Q-Trade portfolio, where I was down on the week $35.22, or 0.27%, giving me a portfolio value of $12,988.76. So unfortunately, both of my portfolios were negative this week, but when we take a look at the overall month shortly, we will see some better news. When we combine both portfolios together, I was down a total of $76.52, or 0.27% this week, giving me a total combined portfolio value of $27,579.77. A disappointing week as some of the other industries saw some good results, like the tech sector. When we take a look at the S&P 500 performance this week, we can see that it was actually up 1.14%, so quite a bit different than my portfolio. And this is a great example of why diversity matters in portfolios. Luckily, I do have exposure to US and global markets through other investments, and therefore I'm not solely relying on my Canadian dividend portfolio, because there are times like these where other markets will outperform. When we take a look at the S&P TSX performance this week, it was down almost 1%, and this is a closer representation to my portfolio, as the S&P TSX is strictly Canadian companies. Although this week was bad, I want to reflect and look back on the whole month of October, as it was still a great month. My Wealthsimple Trade portfolio was up $431.54, or about 3%. My Q-Trade portfolio was up even more, where I was up $555.93, or almost 4.5%. So when we combine both portfolios together, I was almost up $1,000, or roughly 3.5% for the month of October. So all in all, I can't complain about a bad week when the overall month looks like this. Comparing my portfolio's performance against the indexes, I did underperform this month. The S&P 500 saw a monthly gain of almost 7%, and the S&P TSX saw a monthly gain of almost 5%. Although my portfolio did not increase as much, I believe my portfolio holds its value a lot better than the indexes during the bad times. Getting to the dividends that I received this week, my first one was from CIBC, ticker CM, who paid me $7.30. We then had Capital Power Corp, ticker CPX, who paid me $6.02. We then had TransAlta Renewables, ticker RNW, who paid me $1.96. And finally, from my Q-Trade portfolio, I had Scotiabank, ticker BNS, who paid me $17.10. I was expecting a dividend from TD, but it shows a payout date of October 31st, so I believe this will be paid out on Monday, which will technically count towards November numbers. That brings my total dividends for the month of October to $122.34. So not quite my best month yet. However, if the TD dividend got paid out on time, it would have been my best month. So I'll have to see if that gets deposited on the Monday. If we take a look at all the holdings I own, out of the 35 dividend holdings I have, 12 of them were positive this week, with the other 23 being in the red. Considering how many of my holdings were down this week, I'm surprised I didn't have a worse week. But luckily one of my holdings had a great week, which really helped out my portfolio, and you will see them shortly, as we will now look at my best and worst performing stocks of the week, starting off with the losers. First up is Algonquin Power and Utilities, ticker AQN, which was down 4.85% this week, I'll talk a little bit more about this company shortly, as I did take advantage of the lower prices and add it to my position. Next up is Capital Power Corp, ticker CPX, who was down over 7.5%. This company did report earnings this week, which led to its stock depreciation. However, they did also announce a 6.8% increase in their dividend, which is great news for dividend investors. And if you thought that drop wasn't bad enough, my biggest loser this week was Restaurant Brands, ticker QSR, who was down almost 8.5% this week. They also recently released earnings, and obviously by the stock performance, you can tell that the investors were not too happy about the results. Now let's look at some good news, and you will want to see who my best performing stock was this week. First up was H&R REIT, ticker HR.UN, who was up 3.22%. We then have Brookfield Renewable Partners, ticker BEP.UN, who was up 5.64%. And my biggest winner this week was Suncor, ticker SU, who was up over 13%. The reason behind the big share price increase was that they recently announced earnings, which were great, but they also announced that they will be doubling their dividend, which will restore it to pre-pandemic levels. This is great news for dividend investors like myself, as not only am I happy about the stock appreciation, but the extra dividend income will help out a lot. I did not add any money to my portfolio this week, but I did make 2 new purchases to existing holdings. First was Algonquin Power and Utilities, ticker AQN. I purchased 8 shares at $18.05 for a total of $144.40. As I mentioned earlier in the video, their stock price dropped almost 5% this week alone, which now puts their starting dividend yield around 4.7%. And for a quality company like them, it is hard to pass up an opportunity like this. The other company I increased my position in is TransAlta Renewables, ticker RNW. I purchased 10 shares at $18.52 for a total amount of $185.20. Their stock price went down almost 5% on just Friday alone. This was due to one of their wind turbine farms in New Brunswick being shut down, as they currently have an ongoing safety assessment after some cracks were found in the foundations. This will result in repair costs and loss of revenue, since the wind farm will not be generating electricity for the time being. However, I feel that this will not have a huge impact on their long-term growth, and the recent stock price drop now puts their starting yield over 5%, which I cannot pass up, and therefore I increase my position in them. Let me know in the comments what you think about these 2 companies, and if you would consider purchasing them at these prices. And that is my portfolio update for the week. Although the week was red, the overall month was very green, and the amount of dividends I received continues to increase. I'm looking forward to the next 2 months and how my portfolio will do for the year of 2021.